If you have been following the recent X-Men comics, you might know that it's crazy out there. With the introduction of Arakko and its rich history, we have also been introduced to so many new mutants. That it has become extremely difficult to track who is who. However, during the events of Judgment Day, we were introduced to a mutant named Syzya of the Smoke, who bears a striking resemblance to the fan-favorite Nightcrawler. That's why, in today's video, we will dissect the story of Syzya of the Smoke and determine if she is connected to Nightcrawler in some way or another. But before we get started with the video, we have a very small request for you. If you like our content, subscribe to us and like this video. It might just be a simple click for you, but it means a lot to us. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. History of Syzya of the Smoke. Syzya of the Smoke is a mutant from Arakko who made her first appearance in the second volume of X-Men Red, issue number 6. However, her origins were properly explored in X-Men Red, issue number 15. After Syzya's birth, her teleportation abilities were noticed by the Locust File, who imprisoned her with the hopes of using her abilities in the future. However, when she became an adult, Syzya, along with her sister Zora of the Spirit Flame and the Fisher King, revived the Night Table in the Great Ring of Arakko, where she presumed the position of the Shadow Table. Later, they also orchestrated an internal rebellion against Annihilation, but their attempts were thwarted by the ruler of Amenth, and they were captured. Just before being captured, Zora instructed Syzya to flee for safety. Although Syzya was initially reluctant, someone had to live on to continue their battle against the forces of Amenth. After Syzya escaped, Annihilation confronted the Fisher King and Sora for their betrayal and punished them by killing Sora in front of Fisher King and his children. Later, when Mars was terraformed and made suitable for mutant habitation, Syzya and Fisher King made their way to Mars alongside other Arakko mutants. For some time, Syzya and Fisher King operated in the shadows and were later approached by Sunspot, who wanted the vacant seat of Nobody. During the events of Judgment Day, when Druig unleashed the god-level Eternal Uranos on the mutants of Mars, the members of Night Table revealed themselves to aid in the battle. Syzya transported Fisher King and Sunspot to the site where Magneto was battling a fierce monster released by Uranos. During this initial interaction, Magneto was intrigued by Syzya and her uncanny resemblance to Nightcrawler's physiology and powers. But their interaction was short-lived, as the monster was revived once again and sought to annihilate Magneto. Since Magneto's heart was ripped out in the initial moments of the battle, he was in no shape to go for a second round. To assist him, Storm came to the site and amped up Magneto's powers, allowing him to swiftly take down the monster. Following their victory, Storm assembled the remaining Arakko mutants, including Syzya, to confront Uranos. They pursued him to Earth, where Iron Man and Magneto ultimately defeated Uranos, but unfortunately, Magneto succumbed to his wounds and met his demise in the arms of Storm. Meanwhile, on Mars, Iska the Unbeaten was released from the depths of the ocean after Uranos' defeat. While she was discussing the casualties in the battle and how to move forward, she was interrupted by Storm, Sunspot, and Fisher King, who were transported there by Syzya of the Smoke. Amid their discussion, Sunspot accused Genesis of dismantling the Night Table because she was afraid of their power. This did not sit well with Iska, and she was unable to hear anything against her sister. In a fit of rage, she threatened the mutants that she would kill everyone on the site, as her mutant powers enabled her to win each and every time. Instead of backing down, Storm and the others claimed that if push came to shove, they would be happy to fight to the death. However, Fisher King stopped them and sought a peaceful resolution, challenging Iska to a contest of understanding, where the one who showcases a deep understanding of the true essence of loss would be the winner. Since Iska, the Unbeaten, had no experience of loss, she lost the contest and resigned from the Great Ring. Syzya's role in retrieving the most powerful weapon on Arakko. As news of the Judgment Day and the fall of the Arakko mutants reached Genesis, she decided to leave Amenth and head to Mars to wage war against the weakened Arakko mutants. After opening a gateway to Mars, she launched a ruthless attack on the people of Arakko. In response, Storm sent Syzya to retrieve the Uranos trigger, a powerful weapon capable of unimaginable destruction. Thus, she rushed to the safe and secured the Uranos trigger, which was similar to the weapon that Druig used to unleash Uranos on Mars. After the events of the Judgment Day, the fellow Eternals gave this Uranos trigger to the Great Ring of Arakko as an apology for the destruction that Uranos caused on their planet. However, using this weapon meant annihilating their own kind too, because Uranos wasn't the kind to just eradicate the enemies and go back to his prison. After coming in contact with the Uranos trigger, Syzya found herself being manipulated by Uranos. However, thankfully, Kobak was by her side and woke her up from her trance-like state before she could unleash the behemoth. So, she rushed to give the trigger to Storm, who would decide what to do with it. Meanwhile, on the war front, Storm and the other Arakko mutants were engaged in a fierce battle against the Children of Apocalypse when Syzya arrived with the Uranos trigger. Upon being asked about the evacuation status by Storm, Syzya revealed that instead of killing the mutants, Genesis was taking prisoners as she planned on using them against Arakko. Not prolonging her conversation further, she quickly handed the Uranos trigger to Storm, claiming Uranos' manipulation was too strong for her. As Storm held the trigger, Uranos attempted to manipulate her, promising to obliterate their enemies in return for being released for an hour. However, Storm resisted the manipulation and swiftly destroyed the trigger. Around the same time, Apocalypse came to meet Storm, claiming that he wanted to stop the mindless destruction caused by his wife. With the help of Aurora and other fellow mutants, Apocalypse created a new mutant island called Kaorak, and Aurora commandeered this new mutant island to battle Genesis. Upon witnessing the sentient island, Genesis called forth the mutant island of Arakko to battle this new island. As the battle ensued, Storm released her army upon Genesis's army, and Syzya of the Smoke also fought in the battle alongside Aurora. Ultimately, the battle ended with Storm defeating Genesis and Fisher King, sacrificing his life to save the mutants of Arakko. When Roberto witnessed the lifeless body of Fisher King, he mourned his sacrifice, claiming it should have been him. So Syzya comforted him, explaining that Fisher King bore a heavy burden after his wife sacrificed herself in his place. That's why, this time, he made the sacrifice to protect others. She reminded Roberto that someone must carry on and live to honor those who have fallen. Just like she was the one left behind when Annihilation killed Sora and carried out her legacy, Roberto had to be the one to be left behind and carry on the legacy of the Fisher King. After the war, Genesis and her children were exiled, allowing the mutants of Arakko to finally enjoy some peace. However, this peace won't last long, as Genesis can be seen plotting her revenge in the final panels of the comic. What's her power? Is she the female Nightcrawler? Syzya's introduction to the comics has sparked numerous fan theories regarding her possible connection to Nightcrawler. Her demonic appearance, prehensile tail, and ability to teleport with a puff of purple smoke are all strikingly similar to Nightcrawler's traits. But the question is, how is Syzya related to Nightcrawler? Well, we have some theories for you. If you are acquainted with Azazel's story, you might know that he was banished to the Brimstone dimension and he is actually an ancient mutant who has been alive for thousands of years. Thus, there's a strong possibility that Azazel might have escaped his imprisonment and traveled to Amenth, where he could have fathered Syzya. However, this theory does not explain how Syzya's sister Tsora looks so different from her. Additionally, if Azazel could freely teleport to and from Amenth, why didn't he assist the Iraqi mutants? Well, as of right now, we have more questions than answers. Hopefully, Marvel decides to unveil this secret connection as soon as possible. Moreover, when it comes to powers, Syzya of the Smoke has not demonstrated any other remarkable abilities apart from her epic teleportation powers and fighting skills that enabled her to hold her own against Genesis's forces. Even though she has demonstrated such remarkable prowess in such a short period of time, she is still not an Omega-level mutant. This is evident from the fact that no Omega-level mutant can ever hold a seat at the Night Table of the Great Ring, so it can be concluded that Syzya is likely an Alpha-level mutant specializing in strategic retreats when the X-Men face unfavorable odds, and she can play a critical role in the absence of Nightcrawler from the team. Marvelous verdict. If you dropped the X-Men comics a long time ago, then there cannot be a better time to get yourself updated with the new expanding lore of the mutants. Ever since the introduction of the mutant islands of Krakoa and Arakko, we have witnessed a lot of new faces in the comics. We know it can be a bit overwhelming initially. However, once you get past all the new information, a treasure trove of amazing stories and epic fight scenes await you. And if you are already reading the current X-Men comics, do let us know your theories about how Syzya of the Smoke and Nightcrawler might be related to each other. Your marvelous theories help us create more marvelous videos. With that being said, if you like our content, like it and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.